Welcome to Focus Basics. This is day 4 of 5. So the first and second day we defined focus as keeping your attention pointed towards one specific area, and that we live in the attention age and how valuable your attention is. Yesterday we went over the most valuable focus question, and that is, how is where I'm focused on now moving me towards my goals? I hope between yesterday and today you were able to use this question somewhere and refocus yourself. How is where I'm focused on now moving me towards my goals? Then we asked, if it isn't, how can I change my focus? And if it is, how can I keep my focus? So today what we're going to do is we're going to build on this concept of keeping our focus and changing our focus. And we're going to do that by considering the physical aspects of focus. There's some physical considerations. Now the mind and body, they are connected. There's much research on this. So if you haven't eaten, for example, if you're distracted because you're so hungry that you can't focus, then that's something to consider. So make sure you've eaten before you decide to focus on your study or before you decide to focus on a project, so that's not a distraction later on. It's also important to consider the foods you eat. If you've eaten a lot of fatty foods, if you've eaten a lot of sugars, then of course your focus won't be maintained the same as if you've eaten healthy fruits and vegetables. Or if you've overeaten, you're more likely to nap than to focus on anything else. Which leads to another physical consideration, sleep. If you hadn't had enough sleep the night before, instead of being able to focus for a long amount of time, you'll probably be able just to focus on short bursts because you haven't had enough sleep. So if you find yourself dragging yourself through your studies or dragging yourself through a project, take a look at if you've had enough sleep the few nights before. A good night's sleep is kind of like a reboot. Say if you've loaded up too many things on your computer and your computer's all slow and sluggish, and you decide to reboot and everything shuts down and comes back up fresh, well, that's like a good night of sleep. Now your body's fresh and your mind is fresh, and that mental energy is there for you to focus and complete your work. Sometimes students will go for a burn, meaning that they'll just sit down and they'll just study, or they'll sit down and they'll do the project, and they forget to relax. So especially during midterms or finals, there's very little time, very little breaks in between that study time where a student will take the time to take a deep breath and just relax and just be cool and look away from the screen. Maybe they've been staring at the computer screen for hours on end and their eyes are fried and all bloodshot. Maybe that's a reminder to, take a look away, relax. Let your mind relax. Just like a marathon runner can only run so far before, they slow down. They slow down the pace before they take off again. Fitness and exercise is also important. If you've been sedentary or just sitting down all day, not doing much but in front of a book or in front of a computer, that means oxygen hasn't been pumping through your veins to sustain your energy. And keep in mind that the brain uses the majority of that oxygen. So if you haven't been outside walking around doing something physical, but just sitting down all day, then that's something to consider. And if you take a look below, there is another video that's a few minutes long, and that gives you some more physical exercises you could do to maintain your focus. And of course, nothing beats a healthy diet, a good night's sleep, taking periodic breaks to rejuvenate yourself, and regular exercise, but the video below can give you some tips on how to focus physically right now. Of course, this basic training is just a tip of the iceberg. If you're open and willing to try more powerful tips and strategies to becoming a highly effective, highly efficient, ninja-like student, see you inside FastStudySkills.com.